Hello and welcome to Sunrise Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist, Aaron Goldstein, better known as Crease Collector. So typically we start episodes with a brief mail segment, but instead this episode will be almost entirely going through literally just one package that I recently received. And you might say, okay, well, how is one mail day going to fill an entire episode? Well, great question and a fair question. That is because, shout out right off the top to our good buddy Josh Packham. Josh and I have kind of like an ongoing thing where he's in Canada, I'm in the US. And of course, as you guys are well aware of, shipping between countries can get pretty pricey and can build up in a hurry. So, what Josh and I do for each other is anything um, that is in Canada that is, quote unquote, expensive shipping. Um, if it's only a few dollars, $4 or $5 or something, then I might have it sent directly to me. But if someone is wanting to charge 10, $15 to send a card to me, I'll instead just have it mailed to Josh within Canada, save the money there, and then we just accumulate a bunch of cards for each other and then send one big package. So he does that for me for cards within Canada. I do that for him with cards within the US. So this package is a package from Josh that I got a few weeks ago. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the last time I had gotten a shipment from Josh was the fall of 2021. So this package that I got, which came in this absolutely humongous box, which I believe is 84 cards, was essentially like 3.5-ish years of cards accumulating. And then we finally said, okay, let's do it. So that's what we'll be doing for this episode, is kind of just going through the 84 cards that came in this package. Now, some of them are nothing overly special. There are literally some base cards in here. There are some cheap inserts, cheap parallels, nothing overly interesting. And then you have all the way up to multiple one of ones and nice things like that. So, and of the players that I collect, you guys, there are certainly plenty of Slavin cards, plenty of Joel Emerson cards, stuff like that. But there are also just kind of some interesting random cards mixed in that I've picked up over the years as well. So it is a pretty cool assortment of stuff. And, most of this stuff I would say Aaron doesn't necessarily know about. So
It's interesting.
not that I've necessarily been hiding them from him, but just, if it's a cheap parallel or something, it's not really worth mentioning. So
Yeah.
Most of this stuff will be, new to Aaron as well. And like I said, with just kind of the very wide range of stuff that is included within this package, should make for just a really interesting and fun episode. So like I said, we often do show mail, but it's usually just one or two cards here and there and stuff that's more notable. So not too often that we have a massive quantity wise mail day like this. So figured to make for a fun episode. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. So we will get right on into it. And obviously Aaron, feel free to interject with any thoughts or comments you have. So starting off, I've got, let's see, 3 cards that are going toward my 23-24 Upper Deck Deep Roots set. So there is
Love that set.
Leon Draisaitl, Roman Josi, and Philip Forsberg. And
That's awesome.
If you guys watched the episode from the 23-24 review, the texture on these cards is just very interesting and really just kind of stood out to me when I first saw them in person. So I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go for the set. And I know Josh opened up some retail 23-24 Series 2 at the time, and I needed these 3, so he set them aside for me. And in a similar vein, I also went for the PCs set. So he had the Sidney Crosby that I needed for my set. So
That's awesome. Those cards remind me of like the old N64 or any old video game, really. When you have that ring around the player that you're controlling.
Yep.
So that's really, really cool. So
yes.
I don't really view all these inserts all the time. I mean, there's so much to keep up with, but I did see one of those recently, and not that I haven't seen them before, but it kind of brings you back to being like, oh yeah, those are kind of cool. So that's awesome.
Yep, and the gaming theme, very accurate. That's what Billy was going for, of course. So, yeah, just two insert sets that when I saw them in hand, at the release of 23-24 Series 2, I just said, these are really nice inserts. I'm going to go ahead and go for the set. Obviously, I had opened up a decent amount of retail myself, so I had a nice head start on the sets. And then Josh pulling a few that I needed, and I know shout out to Dan Vincent, who a lot of people in this hobby know and love. He also had some that I needed. So kind of between what I pulled, Josh and Dan was able to put together both of those sets. So I guess now officially those sets are put to bed now that I finally have these in hand. So that's cool. And then also from Josh's 23-24 Series 2 breaks, a couple of young guns that I was interested in, Kevin Korchinski and Matt Tompkins. Of course, Korchinski being one of the better prospects for the Blackhawks, and then Matt Tompkins used to be a Blackhawks prospect, and one of my friends is a irrationally big Matt Tompkins fan. So I was just like, I just got to get a Tompkins young gun just as almost like a meme card almost. So yeah, just a couple fun little young guns to pick up there. Nothing too crazy. So I would say those are probably like the 6 most boring cards of the lot. There are,
and it just gets better from here, I guess.
Yeah, there are like some Slavin base cards and stuff. So, whatever, but those are more maybe not interesting to me, but obviously it's a player PC. So it's a little bit different than
it's another one off the list. Yeah.
A random set kind of. So yeah. So anyway, everything else from here on out kind of has like a category almost, I would say. Though fittingly, I'll start with what I would consider kind of like the random category. So these are cards that are purely random that caught my eye for whatever reason, or in a few cases, cards that are for another set that I'm working on. So essentially just not players that I collect. So everything kind of outside of player collections falls into this quote unquote random category. So the first one up, this is a very random one. It's from 2003-04, so I guess it's not wildly random for me, but it's from 03-04 Upper Deck Classic Portraits. It is a Classic Colors triple jersey card numbered out of 50 of Curtis Joseph.
Hey, did not expect that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Love that. A bit sad that it's it's pictured as a Red Wing, but it is what it is. That's fantastic. What a great card.
Yeah, so if you guys have heard me talk about the product before, 03-04 Classic Portraits was the first box that I ever opened in the hobby. So I've always just had an affinity for the product, and I would say once every like few years, I might see a cool Classic Portraits card and just say, you know what, I'm going to grab it. So I saw this one. It wasn't even $20. I think it was like $10 or something. And this was definitely one of the more limited and desirable memorabilia sets from the product. And what's really cool about these is it's not just 3 jersey pieces, it's from 3 of the teams that the player played for.
I like that.
So it's Detroit, Toronto, and St. Louis represented on the card.
That's nice.
Yeah, definitely really go ahead.
Yeah, you can see like kind of like the dark blue and then the more like royal blue for the Leafs, and then obviously the red for the Red Wings there. So that's really cool, actually.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's super, super cool. I like that. What's it numbered out of?
It is numbered out of 50.
50, yeah, okay. That's awesome. Yeah, 5 out of 50 there. That's nice. Great card.
Yep. So neat concept, a product that I love. And honestly, all the designs in this product were really just like clean and classy. So it's always just a good combination when you kind of put all of those things together into one card. So again, like just a card that I saw on Facebook and was like, you know what? Cool. I'm going to grab it. This next one, very similar in that way of like, I saw it and was just like, I'm just going to grab it. It's a cool card. Aaron, you'll appreciate this one because it is from I believe this is 2014, the Upper Deck Team Canada Master Collection product.
Oh, that was a great product.
And it is just one of the standard being a fitting adjective for it, but the winning standard quad jersey cards of Sidney Crosby.
Ooh, oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's a great set. Great product. That's amazing. Yeah. I remember at first that stuff was, before it was, being broken through breaks and stuff like that. it was, it came out and the price point was like crazy. And yeah, just it took a while for that stuff, to kind of surface. For a long time, it was just people wouldn't open it. It was just too expensive.
Mhm.
But I guess obviously, like through the years, people eventually do it, and yeah, some great cards coming out of there. So that's awesome. That's another good one. I have a base card from the product for my Flurry collection. I'm like, I just wanted to pick up the base, like just to say, like I had something from
Mhm.
this, collection because it was an amazing thing.
Yeah, it was a one-off product, and it, like you said, super expensive, super high end. You got a
I think
ton of memorabilia, a ton of autograph cards in every box.
I want to say it was like 3 grand a box. I could be wrong.
It was, yeah, something
Something like that.
crazy.
Yeah, and it came with a
Uh,
nice like collector's box too, like a nice wooden,
mhm.
numbered box to the, numbered out of, whatever it was, like 400 or something. I forget how many boxes were made, but I'm gonna quickly like look that up. So yeah, it was just amazing. Even the boxes sell for like,
Mhm.
a lot of money if you want it just to store a couple of Canada cards in. Just the box alone is it's amazing. So just awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw this card, and the guy actually had two copies of it, but I picked this one just because the obviously the two color piece is nice, but then also like the two different jersey materials just kind of provides a little bit of a nice variety there. So yeah, kind of all that working together. An iconic product. Obviously, it's Crosby, nice memorabilia pieces. So yeah,
Mm,
figured you know what, like that's just a cool card to have. You can't go wrong with a nice little Crosby memorabilia card. So
yeah, that's awesome. I just looked it up now. There were 499 boxes for this
okay.
stuff. So super limited. And like I said, the boxes themselves are just very desirable too. So very cool.
Nice. Again, this next one very random. This was actually a trade. This is probably or potentially maybe the only trade out of all of this stuff. There might be one or two other mixed in, but I don't do a whole lot of trading anymore. Not that I'm opposed to it. It just typically works out better to buy and sell. But this was a trade. I gave up a Jake Gensel, Patrick Hornquist dual sign of the Times autograph card and was able to get this card from 0506 in the game Heroes and Prospects, a complete jersey numbered out of 10 of Evgeny Malkin.
Nice. You don't see that stuff anymore. Like it's really, kind of overshadowed even still. Back then it was for sure, but even now it's just, I feel like stuff coming out of there of, Sid or Malkin or even Ovi stuff, you see like cards like this, shown now and again. It's always like, oh, cool. Like, you know, amazing. So yeah, really, really, really cool. Especially national team stuff, or at least pictured in, the national team is just, I love that stuff. So
Yes. Yeah. So these are pieces from his Magnitogorsk Russian jersey. So you see jersey emblem and number there. So yeah, and like I said, 0506. So this is a pre-rookie, card. So I figured something like this is just a little bit more interesting than a seemingly random, dual autograph of just two good players. But I don't know. To me, a nice triple memorabilia card of Malkin out of 10 is the better card. So it was definitely an easy trade for me to make, and was happy that I did that. The next three, you guys have probably heard me talk about here and there the 1999-2000 Black Diamond Piece of History stick set that I have been chipping away at for around over 10 years at this point. So got a few more for that one. First, a Tim Connolly. And what's important to me on these is that the stick piece has to have like some interesting quality about it. I don't just want plain wood grain. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just isn't as interesting. So even though this isn't a wildly interesting piece, it does at least have, a little bit going on there. Um, I've seen better Connolly pieces, but they've just always been overpriced. So this one was fairly priced. So I was like, you know what? Like, great. So nothing crazy there. This next one is cool. I had a copy of this card already, but I viewed this one as an upgrade over the other one. So I bought this one, sold the one I had of the Gordie Howe. And what's cool about that is just like the black marks on it, whether that's tape residue, puck marks, whatever, don't really know. But the one I did have was just purely wood grain. And that was the one exception I was willing to make because you just don't see, the ink graphics on these cards. So I was like, okay, the How is going to be a boring piece. It's whatever. But when I saw that one, I was like, at least that's slightly less boring. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that one. So yeah, crap that one.
That's
Always
awesome.
nice to have a Gordie
Piece of
memorabilia
history right
card.
there.
And then this one is really cool. And the price I got, I thought was fair, but then one recently sold on, not recently, but within the last like 6 or 9 months or so, sold on eBay for way more than I paid for it. I paid, I want to say 20 or $25 for this very nice Pavel Bure. Very nice stick piece on that. And like I was saying, one sold, I think it actually was probably earlier this year, actually. One sold with a pretty similar stick piece to this for like $200, which is crazy. But yeah, so the fact that I got this for like 20 or 25, pretty solid.
That's awesome. Very nice.
So chipping away at that, I forget how many I have, probably somewhere in the 12 to 15 range out of the 20 cards in the set. So getting close, but not in any hurry, waiting for those nice copies of the cards. So yeah, one of these years I'll finish it off, but always nice to chip away and get some nice cards for that set. And then this is the last card of the quote unquote like random section. It's a really, really darn nice card from a great product. And this guy was actually, I would say, probably like my first ever favorite player growing up because we share the same name, that being Eric Daze for the Chicago Blackhawks. And when I saw this card on Facebook, I was like, yep, like I'd always wanted to have like one really nice Daze card for the collection and saw this and was like, that's the one. Like that's the card I want in my collection. So was able to work out a deal. And then Josh actually picked this card up from the guy at one of the, I forget which expo it was. It might've been the 2024 spring expo, I think. Yeah, anyway, it's from 2005-06, The Cup, from the limited logos set of Eric Daze.
Oh, nice. Yeah, classic set. That's awesome. Love the patch too. That's really, really awesome. And the signature, not too bad. I've seen worse.
Yeah,
That's not too bad.
this set was unfortunately notorious for bubbling autographs.
Was it the
So
pen they used? Was it, was that it?
it
I guess
was more so
the surface maybe.
they didn't really create a good area on the surface of the card.
Mm,
Usually they will kind of have like a matte finish on that
yeah,
area.
yeah.
But they didn't do
So
that
it's a
on these
glossy
ones.
kind of finish, I guess.
Yeah, so it just naturally kind of bubbles the pen. So you'll see that a lot on the 0506 limited logos, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
like you said, this one really isn't too bad. So
It's not the worst I've seen. Not too bad.
yeah, then obviously a very easily recognizable Blackhawks logo patch there just combines to make a fantastic card. So
Mm,
was very, very happy to pick that one up for my collection for sure. So
that's great.
yeah,
Yeah, from a classic set too.
yes. So like I said, that does it for the random section. I am saving what I would consider like the top 5 cards for the end. I think 2 of which, if I remember correctly, 2 of which would fall into this random category,
But they're too
but
nice.
saving them for the end. So
Yeah, they're too
yeah.
nice.
So, and I would say like this one for context was like I considered it for the top 5, but didn't quite make it.
Mm,
So, just to give you a kind of a gauge of what to expect for the future,
okay.
that barely missed out, but certainly could have been. So next we'll move on to the player collections. First up, we've got nothing overly exciting, but a Derek Whitmore Pinnacle rookie.
Nice.
always pick up cards of Derek whenever I can do so affordably. So that's one. And then there are 3 copies of his Ultimate Collection rookie card.
Oh, nice. Have you included this in your count? Because I know we have you've basically cornered the market on this stuff.
I honestly don't even know how many of them I have.
Just do a recount.
I need to figure that out. But yeah, it's numbered out of 399. If I had to guess, I would say I probably have somewhere in like the 70, 75
That's nuts.
ballpark. So
that's crazy. Maybe you'll get to like 100 or something.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I would also love to find the jersey number copy. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So that would be cool.
Or like the first copy or the last copy. That's always significant enough.
Yeah. And I know I do have, I think, like consecutive copies at least once or twice.
That's pretty cool.
Funny enough, 2 of these are 259 and 261. So pretty close to each other.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. It's always funny hearing, when you talk about that, the story, how you've always kind of collected those. And every time you see one, you get it. So it's hard to find, actually. If you're a set collector out there, it's hard to find.
It actually is. Our buddy Craig Schufelt, he is a Ultimate Collection master. Like he collected the base and rookie set of every year of Ultimate Collection for a long time. And I know that this card was one of the last cards he needed like for that project, because every time
Did you give him one?
I bought it. He did. He got one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
you'll never be able to complete the run, but at least you'll get maybe a third of the way there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I really like the design of these cards. I think they're just really great. Nice looking cards, and they kind of the background coloring works well with the Sabres, and I like the photo on it. Not that there's too many photos of him from his NHL playing career, but that is, I would consider, one of the better photos that's of him. So
it is nice.
The fact that it's on this card is really cool. So it's always a card that I am very happy to pick up whenever I can find them. So that is the Derek section. Next up, we have one Josiah Slavin, so not Jacob, but his little brother Josiah, his Young Gun Acetate.
Nice.
Which, fittingly, I actually just picked up a second copy of this card like a couple weeks ago. So I now have 2 of them. But you guys might remember, it might have even been the last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, how I showed off the Young Gun High Gloss and was saying that I want to go for a double rainbow. So that's why I picked up a second copy of the acetate, whereas this one I had picked up probably a year or 2 ago or something, and Josh has had it just sitting around ever since. So
that's great.
Always cool to grab the Young Gun Acetate cards. They're very, very well done and really nice looking cards. So there's that. Next up, we will do a Marc-Andre Fleury card for the collection. One that I had kind of been looking for a while and just had never gotten around to picking up, but finally crossed this one off the list. A very, very nice looking card from 2122 Skybox Metal Universe. A Precious Metal Gems Red of Fleury.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Because I know you have the 1 of 1, so this is just
correct.
Another notch in the cap there. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
especially
I think
with the red with Chicago works out well.
Yeah, very nice color match card for sure. I think at this point I just need the blue Spectrum, which is a retail parallel, and then the purple Spectrum out of 199, which is also a retail parallel. But like you said, I have the gold 1 of 1. I have the green out of 10. I have this.
Purple ones are nice.
Essentially out of 90, because the red and greens combined to make the 100. And then like the base, the E-Pack Spectrum, stuff like that. So yeah, just the blue and purple I need for the full rainbow of those.
That'd be really cool.
But yeah, hard to go wrong with the red for the Blackhawks. Just a very, very visually appealing card for sure. So was happy to cross that one off the list. Next up, the lone George Vezina card of the mail day. Nothing overly wild, but just a really nice looking card from 07-08 in the game Ultimate Memorabilia. The base card numbered out of 90.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Has some foil on there? Oh, yeah, it does.
Yep, it's an entirely foil board, and they just dance like crazy. They are very, very nice looking cards.
That's really impressive. In the slab there, looks great.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I'm kind of picky with what Vezina cards I pick up, but This was just such a visually appealing design and execution of the card. So, figured, hey, I forget how much we got this for, maybe like $5 or something.
Oh,
So I said,
really?
yeah, like you can't go wrong with a really nice looking card like that for like $5. So yeah, so that's the Vesna. And then from here on out until the top 5 are much larger categories within the player collection sphere, so to speak. So next up, we'll go through all of the Ryan Dzingel cards. First
Nice.
up is just a pretty standard Sign of the Times autograph that I still needed. Nothing too crazy, but it is what it is.
All
So
right.
there's that. Next up, we have an Ultimate Signatures gold parallel numbered out of 10. So that's a
Ooh, nice. It's a
nice
great card.
card there with some gold rainbow foil on it.
That's awesome.
Nice
Great
looking
card.
card from his very short stint with the San Jose Sharks.
Well, there we go. Looks great, though.
Speaking of the Sharks, there's a few more here, or a couple more. These next 4 are all from Clear Cut. This one being just the base Champs autograph. So again, nothing too wild there. Pretty cheap card, but needed it, and there it is. Similarly, the Champs green parallel, numbered out of 25.
Great cards.
So
Love
can't
those.
go wrong with nice.
I wish they brought back Champs like a full product.
It was a very fun
cool.
product.
It was cool.
And then, of course, people know Clear Cut for the acetate cards. So he was in the 21-22 base set for Clear Cut for who knows what reason, honestly, but he was. So first up, we have one of the exclusives autographs numbered out of 65.
Nice. That's cool.
And to go with it, one of the high gloss parallels numbered out of 10.
Even better. It's a great looking card.
Yes. I like that they used purple on these for whatever reason.
Looks good. You don't see it often, but when it's there, it looks great.
Yeah. Makes for a nice looking card for sure. So there's the little Ryan Dzingel stack. Next up, we'll get into Nicholas Hjalmarsson. There are some more cards here for sure than Dzingel, but I know I showed you these, Aaron. I only showed you one of these, but there are 4. This was I don't know if it was a stadium giveaway or something you could buy in the team store. I don't remember, but they did a full deck of playing cards, kind of similar to what OPG does. But
yeah.
So
you were saying
all 4 versions of Hjalmarsson.
That's cool. I love that. I think that those are the coolest things. That's really, really great.
So
yeah, I'd be interested to know like how those get released, but like if any season ticket holder or something knows, like, oh yeah, like I remember when those were given away or something, or what game or something, or what, because that's really cool. Yeah, I like how they did 4 versions of it. That's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, in a couple years you won't see too many of those out there.
Yeah, and then it was sponsored by Bud Light, so that's the back.
Okay.
The back of the cards there. So again, I'm
That's
not sure if it was a stadium giveaway or it might have been something in the team store. I think that's what it was. Yeah, regardless, whatever the distribution method was, they're really cool. So
that's awesome.
Figured, I think they were only like $1.50 a piece. So for $6,
even better.
Even
better.
Like that's a cool little oddball to have for sure. So there's that. Next up, we've got a 1920 OPG glossy gold parallel.
Oh, nice. I like that.
So again, nothing too crazy, but still needed it. So there you go. In a similar vein from 1415 OPG, one of the black rainbows out of 100.
Nice.
So again, one that I just, for whatever reason, didn't pick up at the time and was able to find one cheap, and there it is. Next up, have a slew of duplicates, or at least duplicates. A pretty fun one. This is a rookie year card, and he didn't have too many cards in his rookie year. So at this point, kind of anytime I see a rare card from his rookie year, I'm at least tempted to acquire it if it makes sense. So this is one of those instances from 0809 SPX, one of the Spectrum parallels numbered out of 25.
Oh, those are sweet. I kind of wish Enroth had the he's in SPX, but just in the jersey autograph one. But I kind of wish he got a base card there, a base rookie, because I always thought they looked really nice, especially the parallels too.
Yeah,
back when SPX was pretty decent. Just amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Though I will say they did a nice job with 2425
They did.
SPX,
Yeah.
kind of reverting back to the old
Yeah.
feel a little bit.
Yeah.
Not quite there yet, but it definitely was a step.
It
in the
was
right
a step
direction.
up for sure.
I know a lot of people appreciated that, but yeah, so just a cool SPX parallel, really nice foil on there.
I dig it.
So can't go wrong when you see something like that for a good price.
Mm.
And then one of the few cards that I will like actively hoard of Hjalmarsson and Slavin are Upper Deck High Gloss cards. So pretty much anytime I see them, as long as it's a reasonable price, I will buy it. So I already have at least one of these, probably have 2 or 3 already. I don't know off the top of my head, but was able to get not one, but 2 more copies
Nice.
of the 1718 High Gloss.
That's awesome.
So again, they're not new, but they are, additional copies. And then I do really appreciate this one from 1011 Upper Deck. One of the, I guess at this point they were called the exclusive Spectrum cards instead of High Gloss.
But like they're High Gloss.
It's a High Gloss.
Yeah, it's High Gloss.
But what's cool about this one is it is the numbered 4 out of 10.
Oh, nice jersey number. There's Turco in the background. It's awesome.
Yes,
that's super cool. Do you think you'll ever, get like a full run of High Glosses? Like all 10?
Probably not. That would be pretty tough to do. I want to say there might be. I don't even remember if it's Hjalmarsson or Slavin, but there is one year that I have like 5 or 6 of them.
I mean, it's possible.
So you never know. Yeah, there's that. And then speaking of hoarding, this is another card that I have just hoarded from day one when they came out because I love the concept of the card so much. From 2020-21 SP Authentic, the Sign of the Times Black card, which is the one and only card that features his nickname of the Hammer. So he has that inscribed on the card. What's cool about this one in particular, this is the jersey number.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
4 out of 49.
That's awesome. Yeah, the black Sign of the Times, just so cool. Same with the Future Watch versions, but just the black versions they're so nice. So yeah, I'm so glad you got to have your guy in that set because it's just amazing. Love it.
Yes, it is very cool for sure. Cool design, gold rainbow foil, of course, the gold ink on there, numbered out of 49. So I want to say I already had like 4 or 5 of these in hand, and then got this one. Got the number 5 out of 49.
Nice, of course.
Got the number 13 out of 49.
Nice.
Got the number 18 out of 49.
Keeps going.
Got the number 31 out of 49.
You're going to get all 49 here.
And the 34 out of 49.
It's amazing.
So in that package from Josh, what was that? 6? Yeah, 6 copies of that card. So
that's amazing.
I believe I now have like 10 or 11 of these cards. And yeah, it's a really cool card. And like I said, one that if I see it at a reasonable price, I'm going to get it. So
it'd be interesting to know if there's one out there that maybe he forgot to write the inscription on. So maybe there's like a black, without the inscription, kind of like a different
pseudo
thing or something.
variation.
Yeah, a little variation you can get one day, but you got to find all 49 first to see if there's any changes.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I think you're well on your way there.
That's right. You never know. And then the last card of the Hjalmarsson stack, again, kind of a card that I hoard intentionally, though this makes a little more sense because they are a little bit different. From 2020-21 Upper Deck Premier, one of the mega patches out of 26.
Of course. I knew there'd be some of those in here. That's
so
great.
This is actually the one and only mega patch in this shipment. But it is a mega patch nonetheless, of course. If I don't have it, it means I need it. So yeah, so nice little Hjalmarsson stack there. Of course, getting some high glosses and some of those Sign of the Times cards is always a treat. So
that's great.
There's that, and then we will move on to what is a pretty significant stack of Jacob Slavin cards here.
Wow.
Again, pretty big variety here in terms of the quality, but starting off, and I kind of have these organized like least to best-ish. Of course, it's subjective, but starting off with a couple base cards from the Tim Hortons set.
Oh, yeah.
That was the front and back
I like those.
teammates. So Brent Burns on one side and Slavin on the other. So I know Josh pulled this from one of the packs that he opened. So
Nice.
get that
Why
aside
not?
for me. Next up, a 22-23 OPG base card. Again, nothing overly wild, but is what it is. Same with a blue parallel. And then, every now and then, especially when you're having stuff sent to somebody else on your behalf, you might forget that you had bought a card and then you buy it again. So here are 2 copies of the 22-23 OPG pink
Nice.
out of 75.
Those pop.
Didn't intend on doing that, but
they're there.
It happens. So there's 2 of those. And then I know Josh always hits up our buddy Frank Leclerc whenever like OPG or flagship or whatever comes out each year to get the Ovechkin cards that Frank pulls. So Josh was able to also inquire about Slavin stuff for me. So this is from 24-25 OPG. Have the base card, the blue parallel, the retro. Again, nothing too crazy. But then some of the better ones, the OPG Black Retro out of 100.
Those are nice. Those are really nice.
And my favorite of the batch. Oh, I already saw this. The retro.
No. Oh, blank back. I love it. Yeah, I'm a fan of those. I'll never get tired of seeing those, even though they're really boring. Doesn't matter. So good.
Always nice to see an OPG card that looks like that.
Yep. I mean, you never know where you're going to see one again. So
yes,
they're tough.
Very true. So the fact I was able to cross that one off the list, I think it might have even been on release day, was a good feeling. Just be like, you know what? Like, don't even have to think about it.
Have you seen one since then?
I have seen 1 or 2 since then.
Okay.
So I would have been able to get one, but still, it's like,
yeah,
you know what? Like,
yeah.
just
what about for Jalmerson? Yeah.
If you see it, you got to grab it. So
what about for Jalmerson? Do you have all of his yet?
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
I thought you did. I mean, they're tough though. Which years are you missing?
I want to say 15, 16. I think
those were weirdly hard that year.
They were. It was very strange. The guys, like the rookies and updates that were in Series 2 were printed more plentifully, but the actual like standalone OPG product was a lot tougher.
It was.
So I have seen one of those,
okay,
and the guy sold it to somebody else before we could come to terms on a deal.
Probably a set collector because you never know.
Yeah, who knows? But maybe one day another one will pop up. But
yeah.
Anyway, next up, a 22-23 Upper Deck Clear Cut Parallel.
Oh, nice.
Always nice cards, cheap, but they're very nice looking cards. Let's see here. Next up, this is 24-25 Artifacts, the Retail Neon Green Parallel.
Nice.
Nothing too crazy, but still cool card.
Needed it.
22, got a little slew of Artifacts cards here, actually. This one, 22-23, the Aurum insert. Again, nothing too wild, but a nice card nonetheless. This one is from 22-23 as well. I think, what do they call these? The Steel Blue or something?
Yeah.
Out of 85.
Still cool. Yeah. Always love a good Artifacts card.
That's nice platinum blue foil is always cool to see.
It is nice.
Then a few, let's see, 3 more 24-25 parallels. First up, the Orange out of 65. What is this? The Spectrum Jungle, numbered out of 15, which is a retail parallel.
Okay. It's
kind
interesting.
of like almost like a cracked ice foil on those, which is pretty cool. And then finally, one of the purple parallels, numbered out of 25.
Can't go wrong with that.
And then Josh packed it in the same top loader, so I'll just flip it around and show off an SPX Retro autograph.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are so cool, the retro ones.
Yes.
Nice. I didn't know he had an autograph in that.
The 0203 base card design.
That's nice.
So there's some of those, and then a few more kind of just like quote-unquote plain Jane type of autograph cards. First up from 1920 Ice, one of the Glacial Graphs autograph cards.
It's never get old.
Yes, always a nice set.
Classic.
One of the OG Ice insert sets for sure. I remember those. dating back to 05, 06 when they
Yep.
were first a thing. So
And everything's acetate now, so it's not really, special, but those were really cool.
Yep. Next up from 22-23 SP Authentic, a curated signatures out of 199.
That's really clean.
This was kind of an interesting card because we had, whether me or Josh on my behalf, had gone after probably at least like a handful of these, and either the shipping was too high or got outbid and it just went for like more than it seemed like it should. So this was always one of those cards that was just like a thorn in my side of, it was never hard to find one, but for whatever reason, it was hard to actually get one. So it was nice to finally cross off that from the list. Next up, this is a really nice looking card in person from 23-24 Black Diamond, a Sparkling Scripts.
That's cool.
As we have said on the show for multiple years, every time Black Diamond comes out, the foil on a lot of the Black Diamond cards is just really darn nice in person. And these are no different. And I know there is, I think I already have the Spectrum version of this out of 25, which kind of has more of like a blue icy background that just looks absolutely spectacular. So the base version is nice, but the Spectrum out of 25 is like next level, just a stunning card in person. Next up, this was also kind of a funny one that had seen some go and could never work out a deal to get one. Finally ended up buying this copy of the 22-23 Snow Spray autograph.
Hey, that's cool.
So
those aren't like, those are kind of rare, no?
Yeah, they're
fairly
tough. There's like 25-ish.
Yeah.
So they're doable, but they're still, you don't see them every day. But
no, exactly.
Ended up kind of, after missing out on a few, ended up just like quote unquote paying up for this one.
Yeah.
And then of course shortly after, another one or two pop up for cheaper.
Always happens. It always happens.
Is what it is. And then next up, we've got, let's see, this is 23-24 SP Game Used, a true base out of 74.
Nice.
Really nice foil on that card. And interestingly, for 24-25, they went away from doing this, where there are just legit unnumbered base cards, and now the jersey number cards are a parallel.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. So no more jersey numbered base cards in SP Game Used, unfortunately. I thought it was cool, but I also understand going away from it too. So there's that. Also from that same product, the gold premium memorabilia patch out of 25.
That's nice.
Nice little, I think that might be from the shoulder patch, the stick.
Looks,
piece there. Nice card. Next up from, what is this? 22-23 Upper Deck Premier, a gold patch out of 25.
Can't go wrong with anything from Premier.
That's
right.
Awesome. Nice card. And then, as you guys heard me say, I'm always a sucker for a good Upper Deck high gloss parallel. So first up we have, and I think these first two are duplicates. The third one is a new one. But the 2020-21 Extended Series, numbered out of 10, of course.
Nice.
As well as a 22-23 high gloss. So those were both duplicates, I believe. And then this one was a new one, 24-25 Series 2. So there's those. Speaking of parallels, numbered out of 10, everybody loves a good OPC Platinum Emerald Surge.
Oh, yeah. Those are amazing.
Yes. Very nice looking cards for sure. It's always nice to cross those off the list. Next up, let's see. We're jumping back to 24-25 Artifacts. This is one of the Memorabilia Black parallels.
Ooh.
Numbered out of 5. So very cool card there. Really hard to see, but these are also from those shoulder patches.
You can kind of see it, in the light there,
Those monochromatic shoulder patches. So it's a little tough to see. You can kind of see a little bit there, but yeah, definitely a cooler card in person than on screen. But
out of 5 Artifacts, can't go wrong.
The Artifacts Black parallels have always just kind of been one of those cards where it's like, that's a cool card. So,
exactly.
And they've been around. They've been around forever. So
they have.
That's cool. From 23-24 Artifacts, a card that I had seen probably 2 or 3 of these sell for what I thought was a crazy amount of money. I know this is a very popular set within Artifacts, so I kind of get it, but they still just felt like irrationally high, like 80, 100 plus dollars, and was finally able to get this one for I think like 40 or something, so that felt a lot more reasonable. But again, from 2324 Artifacts, one of the award winners autographs.
Oh yeah, strange. It seems like that would be, like a lesser amount. But I mean, hey, there's been a lot of talk about Slavin recently, so a lot of collectors getting on board. So, and plus, it is a really nice card. So glad
Yes.
you were able to pick that one up. That's real nice.
Yep. So really nice acetate finish with the silver hollow foil on there, numbered out 25. Of course, him being a multi-time Lady Bing winner now. Yeah, just
That's
a very
great.
nice card from a very widely collected set. So cool that he has one of those cards, and fun that I was able to pick one up. This one from 2223 Premier, you saw the gold patch earlier. How about one of the green fight straps out of 5?
Okay. That's really cool.
Cool card there.
Fight strap. I like it.
And then next up, this is the last card of the Slavin pile that is not within the top 5. Spoiler, there will be more Slavin coming up, but for the boring Slavin cards, this is the last one. From 2020-21, the Cup, a gold patch auto out of 8.
That's amazing. Wow, that's a nice card. Out of 8 too.
Yes.
That's real nice. I like it.
Yep.
I like how they left room for the autograph. Some years the memorabilia is a little bit too high, and then they have to sign over their face kind of things. It's a good medium there for sure.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep. So nice design, nice patch, good photo, all that going for it. So there is the Slavin stack. Like I said, definitely some pretty cheap, boring ones in there, but also some very nice ones in there, like you saw. So nice to cross off all of those from my checklist, or at least most of those. Some of those were doubles, as I said, but yeah. And then we'll turn to the much more interesting stuff. There is one more category prior to the top 5. So this final category, you guys heard me talk about these cards before, but one innovative idea that Billy and his team came up with and put into the Cup over the last few years are the Upper Deck printing plate booklets. So I just thought, great idea, really good execution. So whenever I see them of any of my guys, I make a point to get them. So I actually have 3 that were included in this package from Josh. So,
not bad.
First up from 21-22, we have the Ryan Dzingel update.
Hey, that's nice.
And what's cool about this one in particular is he was an autograph version.
Oh, nice.
For whatever reason. So there is one of the Dzingel printing plate booklets.
Is one of them usually autographed, or all of them, or?
So it kind of
I don't really know how that works.
It's supposed to be just one. Some guys sign all 4.
Yeah. I figured it was something like that, where it's like some do, some don't. It's just
a lot of them are not signed. Only some guys do have autograph versions, but it's supposed to just be the last plate is signed, but some guys sign all 4 of them. Whatever.
That's fine.
Is what it is. So there's the Ryan Dzingel, and then you guys heard me talking about the Josiah Slavin Young Guns Rainbow. So of course the creme de la creme of that is his printing plate.
That's great. That's awesome.
That card. So yeah, once I got this, and I had 2 copies of the Clear Cut exclusive already, so I was like, okay, if I have this and 2 copies of the hardest card, might as well. The rest aren't going to be terribly expensive, so
gotta go for it.
Why not go for the double rainbow there?
That's great.
Yep. So there's that one, and then the final printing plate booklet is from 2020-21, and this one is from that same. You saw the high gloss parallel earlier, but the 2020-21 extended all-star version of Jacob Slavin.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And it's nice you can see the majority of these plates too. You know, some of them are, you know, pretty run down, and so you don't really know what's what, but these ones you can kind of read all of them there and kind of get a sense of like what you're actually seeing. That's
Yes.
great.
Yep. So, yeah, like I said, I've always just really appreciated these cards and thought it was a great idea that Billy and his team had, and the execution on them has always been really good. So, even though I'm typically like, I don't include printing plates on my player checklists, but and so like random printing plates I don't go for. Um, like Slavin's rookie plates I go for, and then like these printing plate booklets I go for. But say they're just like a random like OPG printing plate or something, like doesn't really do a
Yeah, it
whole
doesn't
lot
do anything for
for
you.
me. So, but yeah, like I said, anytime I see these, that is like a must pick up
Plus, you
thing.
get all four in one shot. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and if you display them, you know, it lays out really nicely.
yes, absolutely. So that is the first 79 cards of the package.
Okay, that went by
That
really
leaves
fast.
that leaves our final 5.
Okay.
So what's actually really cool and interesting, and why I feel these cards deserve to be in the top 5, is these first 2 are actually cards that I used to own and then sold them, and then all these years back reacquired them.
That's
So
interesting.
just really cool, and they're both cards that when I got rid of them, like I was okay with moving them, but they're cards where it's like, I kind of miss that card a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
I know what
know?
you mean.
Um, so you don't sweat it too much, but it's like, like it, I
Like,
wouldn't have
oh, like,
minded.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Or if there was a
and
way to trade and, you know, keep that card, that would have been
yeah,
nice. But yeah.
yeah. So anyway, the fact that all these years later was able to reacquire these cards, they will be staying in my collection this time around. So this first one is a really cool story. Honestly, and I'm sure a lot of you can resonate with this, but I was very, very much into watching Klutz and Chara group breaks when that
Oh,
was
yeah.
like first a
That was
thing.
like the thing, like
Like
at one point.
their first few years of doing it, when they were really like maybe not the only ones group breaking, but they were like the group breaker.
Yeah, like they were like the people to go to for a long time. Like they kind of spearheaded that whole, you know,
Mhm.
breaking kind of industry. So I
Yep.
like I remember like turning on their breaks and just watching just for hours, like just to see
Yep.
what gets pulled on their feed, and you know, joined a few group breaks myself and always had good results there. So yeah.
Nice. So one product that I was very excited about when it came out, and as a result spent, the first I watched their group breaks the first, whatever, like first 3-4 days that the product had come out, was 2014-15 Upper Deck Premiere,
Oh
because
yeah.
I
I was watching
loved
around that time
I
too.
loved the original Premiere
Yep.
collection in the
Yep.
early 2000s. So when 14-15 came out, and it was, the product line was kind of revived, it was just like, yeah, like I'm all about this, love this, want to watch as much of this
Yeah.
get opened as
Same.
possible.
Same.
So anyway, this card was pulled on one of their breaks, and I believe the person who owned it was also watching. So I started messaging them like in the private chat of their platform. Hey Nick, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Hope
Nick,
you're
how's
doing
it
well.
going?
I know a few other guys, Matt have also been tuning in
They
throughout the years as
have.
well. So
Just replying
shout
to the
out to you
comments here.
guys. Shout out to y'all. But anyway, so yeah, I was messaging back and forth, and I was like, "This is a really cool card. Like, would you consider trading it?" And we ended up working out a deal where I gave up, kind of interestingly, from that 99 2000 Black Diamond Piece of History set. I had a dual. They're single, dual, and triple versions of those cards. The triples are one of ones. I've never owned one of those, but I had one of the duals of Wayne Gretzky in
Ooh,
my
nice.
collection. And that was like at the time, like a $75 card. And it's probably still in that ballpark. Um, and was like a card that I was like, like I like having this, but I can move it.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm getting something like this. So,
Mm.
For those who don't know, Adam
Wow.
Clendenning, he kind of bounced around the NHL for a while, but he was a fairly hyped up Blackhawks prospect for a while. And I mean, you can't
That
beat
patch is
that
sick.
patch.
It's
Yeah.
like, it was like a 7 color. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just missing the orange, so it's a
Okay.
6 color, but I mean, just a spectacular card. So I saw this pulled and was like, I got to have that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So
Love
worked
the
out
design
the
too.
trade. Worked out the trade, traded a Gretzky dual stick to get this card
Nice.
back in 2015.
Okay.
Got the card, and then I was like, man, like this is a really nice card. And like there were people who were hardcore going after this set, like
Oh yeah.
because people loved
was
the fact
nuts.
that Premiere was back and
was
people
crazy.
were hardcore going after these cards. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this on eBay at a stupid price. And if someone wants to grossly overpay, fine. If not, I'll keep it. So I listed this card on eBay for $500 and somebody
Nice.
bought it.
Nice. Even better.
So I sold this card in 2015 for $500
Wow.
US.
That's nuts.
And Josh and I reacquired this card, I believe, last year for, I want to say, $40.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
So whatever, 10 years later,
Yeah.
reacquiring it for less than 10% of what I
good.
sold it for.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's a good lesson for, everyone, overpaying for, any of these new hotshot cards. Not saying you shouldn't. I mean, obviously if you want it, you can, do whatever you want, but it just goes to show, sometimes it's good to wait a little bit because yeah, it's chances are it's going to go down in value, especially if you're buying to, invest. It's hard to do that with hockey cards, especially. So this is a good lesson there. So I'm glad it worked out for you though, on both sides of the thing.
Yeah, it worked out for sure. I don't know who the person is that bought it from me for that much, but
hopefully they enjoyed the card.
Hopefully they enjoyed it. Well, they did. And then, when Josh and I got this, I think last fall or something, it was from someone who's a notorious flipper. Like they'll just buy a bunch of stuff and then we'll flip the cards. So
probably not even the original owner.
No, definitely
who bought
not.
it from you. Yeah,
definitely not.
Probably changed hands a couple times.
Right. So yeah, obviously it's a stunning card in its own right, but the backstory behind it,
That's
having
awesome.
Acquired it at release, selling it for a crazy amount, and then being able to buy it back 10 years later for way less.
Good story.
Just makes for a really cool, meaningful card to the collection, even though Adam Clendenning is nothing special. It's a beautiful card with an awesome backstory.
And a great patch. So
it's great. Can't go wrong. And I feel like because of the backstory, that's why it warrants the top 5 spot.
And you gotta somehow acquire the Gretzky back now. I think that'll be the next story for next year. I think
that would be a little bit harder to track down because it would not numbered and whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a scan of it somewhere. Like you always have some scan you find out of nowhere and you're like, oh, I might have a scan of that from back then. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So that was the number 5 card that, like I said, had it, reacquired it. Again, number 4, same thing. Used to have this card, sold it off, and then was able to reacquire it. This is from 2008-09 in the game Ultimate Memorabilia, a triple memorabilia and autograph silver, numbered out of 9 of Johnny Bower.
Ooh, man, I was not expecting that. That is amazing.
Really I love nice jersey, really wicked glove
that's
piece
so cool.
there. Just
that's
like
awesome.
a very nice glove piece there. And then a pad piece as well.
That's so cool.
So I love this set. I love the design.
It looks good.
You guys have heard me say it. Anything that has multiple types of memorabilia on it, I'm a sucker for that.
It's almost like the complete package cards.
Yes.
Very similar thing. I've always loved those from in the game.
Yes.
Great.
So had this card probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so, something like that. And then when Johnny passed away in, what was that, like 2017-ish, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but whenever that was, again, kind of a similar thing. I put it up for sale, just saying, hey, if someone really wants this more than I do, like that's fine. So I sold it at the time, and was able to buy it back, I think maybe like toward the beginning of this year or like in the fall or something.
Mm,
And again, kind of adding on to that backstory even more, I sold it to someone and then I bought it back from that guy's son. So
okay.
I think the story is that he stopped collecting and had his son start selling off cards from his collection.
Okay.
So I saw this card pop up on Facebook and I was like, I used to own that card, kind of miss it, kind of want it back.
Yeah. Yep.
So there it is. And
That's cool.
also, funny enough, in the meantime, like in between when I sold it and when I got it back, I bought another copy of it. So I actually have two of these.
I mean, if anyone wants one,
So
you know,
the other one has, I think, I can't remember if it's the glove or pad piece, but has a really nice piece as well. So
that's cool.
I have two of them that have really nice pieces on them. So it's just kind of funny how that worked out. But yeah, so now that I've got it back, won't be going anywhere. So
It's amazing.
just cool there. So that is number 4. So moving on to the top 3, these are all new cards. No crazy backstory on these at all. Actually, I take that back. Number 1 has a really cool backstory. But first up, this was, I think, just an eBay purchase. So no cool story, but a really, really cool card from 23-24 SP Game Used. One of the NHL Stadium Series Fabrics cards. This is a tag numbered out of 3 of Jacob Slavin.
Hey, I love that.
Very cool.
That's
tag.
almost like a 1-of-1.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? It's like those premier patches, those premier game patches where, you know, one of them will have like the NHL logo type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, yeah, super cool.
Yep. So can't go wrong with the card numbered out of 3.
I love the stitching at the bottom.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What a card.
Obviously a great piece there. And Hurricanes fans and collectors are very die-hard. You might not think that, but these, like this Stadium Series set, whether it be not so much the plain jersey cards don't sell for a whole lot, but the patches out of 35 sell for stupid money. Like just the Slavin patch out of 35, I have seen sell for like 75 or $100.
Wow.
And to me, it's like that's like a $10 card.
Yeah.
You know? So, and then like the banner year cards, the banner pieces, the base ones don't sell for crazy, but the auto out of 25, again, like I've seen that card sell for like, even I think I saw one for like $200, which is insane. Nuts. Like that's like a $20-$25 card. So anyway, point being that Hurricanes collectors, because of just like the novelty of the outdoor game, go crazy over over the more limited versions of these cards. I forget what I paid for this one, but given the context of what some of those other cards have sold for, I got a really good deal on this.
That's awesome.
So
yeah,
a very rare card with a great piece for what I thought was a fair price, but in context of the other cards was a really good price.
Super nice. Yeah. So, and Nick just mentioned like it's cool that it has the Stadium Series logo on the card, like right above the actual patch logo there, the tag logo. So that's really cool. That's awesome. And I think next year for, you know, SB Game Used, I think you're going to have some nice Four Nations memorabilia as well. So I can only imagine how that stuff will go to. I only assume at this point, but
probably,
you know, seeing as how there was no you know, all-star game, and I don't think there'll be one next year as well, but you know, they need something to fill up, you know, SB Game Used. So I think that'll be, you know, one of the main stuff that they get. So hopefully there's some Slavin stuff there. So that'll be again some really cool chase cards. Speaking of SB Game Used.
Yeah, I would expect that. So
yeah, those will be like amazing PC cards for you.
Yeah.
Truly one of a kind.
Yes. So on to number 2. This is a card that Josh has probably had for, I don't know, like a year and a half or 2 years at this point. One that when I knew this package was coming, like there are certainly cards within all of this that you kind of forget about and aren't overly interesting, you know, like a cheap OPG parallel or something isn't really worth getting overly excited about. But this is one of those cards where when I said, hey, can you send the package? It's like, this is one of the cards I'm really excited to have.
Yeah.
And you will very much appreciate this card.
I'm sure.
It is from the President's Choice Game Used series, which I believe that came out in like late 2020, early 2021, kind of over the course of a few months every week. So this is from that product. And you guys have heard me say it before, but I am a big sucker for a good skate lace card. So this is of our guy, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. That's so good.
Yep.
Very nice. Yeah, what a great card. You know, we talked about this a little while ago, but yeah, it's always so cool to see a little skate lace there. That's awesome.
Yes.
And the eyelets are part of the memorabilia too, or are they built into the card?
Part of the surface of the card.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a cutout.
Yeah.
A little
It's hard to tell, just just kind of looking at the card there, but that's cool. I've never owned one, so that's why I asked. That's great.
Yeah, so they cut 4 holes in the surface of the card and then loop the laces like into the middle.
How thick are those cards?
They are pretty thick.
I can imagine.
The card itself is like 180, but then the laces stick out.
Yeah.
So they end up needing like 260 point.
Okay.
One touches.
That's really cool.
So yeah, just an awesome card, numbered out of 10. Yeah. Fleury skate lace can't go wrong. So
not bad.
I now have 4 skate lace cards in my collection. I have this one. I have that really cool Jack Adams one that I got last year. The Ovechkin one also from this product.
Yep.
And then of course the Vezina. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, but like I said, I was really excited about this card. So even if it's not the second most valuable out of the lot, it's just a really cool card that fits in my collection very nicely. And then the final card, you guys have probably seen the title of this episode, so that might give you a little hint of what this might be. But this also has a really cool backstory that at I think it was the 2024 Fall Expo. I'm sure plenty of you guys are very familiar with Grant Patterson, who is better known as GP Sports Cards, has a big YouTube presence, doing breaks on his channel, and then also runs group breaks through his brick and mortar store in the Toronto area. And he also always has a big setup at the expo at every show, has tons of really nice cards every single show. So you never know what you're going to find. And he buys and sells a lot. And so anyway, back at the 2024 Fall Expo, he had posted on Facebook some preview pictures of his showcases. And I was kind of just flipping through the pictures like, oh, like what cool stuff is he going to have? And I spotted this card in one of the photos. It was like kind of tucked away in the corner of the showcase, and it was like slightly blurry, but I like right away I knew, I'm like, that's what I think it is. I got to figure out a way to get that card. Of course, I have never gone to the expo, as we have said, so I was not able to get this in person. So I was messaging multiple people like, hey, are you going to be at the show today? Like, can you beeline straight to Grant's booth and see if you can get this card for me? So I have like 3 people to give shout outs to. First of all, Glenn Barracuda, as you guys might know him on Instagram. He was very, very awesome in being able to actually go get this card, buy it from Grant, and just secure the card for me. So huge, huge, huge shout out to Glenn, because without him doing this, of course, this never would have happened. So there's that. And then a lot of you guys might also be familiar with Justin Kramer, who's been a longtime collector, and he always goes, and I think he sets up at the expo as well. But he was actually, I contacted him because I knew he was there and he was set up. So I knew that he had early access to the floor. So I was like, hey, Justin, can you go talk to Grant and just like put the bug in his ear of like, hey, don't sell this, like wait for Glenn to get here, and then you guys can work it out. So also shout out to Justin for being willing to do that, to go talk to Grant and kind of get the wheels turning there. So, Justin kind of made the first contact, and then Glenn went and got it. And then maybe a few months later, I think back in January, Glenn and Josh finally worked out a way to get this card from Glenn to Josh to add it into my package. And then, of course, like I said, this was the creme de la creme of this 84 card package from Josh. So that's the whole backstory. Enough build up. You guys want to see the card? I get it. It is from 2020-21 Ultimate Collection. It is an all-star tandem shield, 1 of 1, of Max Pacioretty and Jaccob Slavin.
Hey, that's awesome. Especially right now. Pacioretty's super clutch for the Leafs, so that's awesome. And of course, Slavin being on there is great. I knew this card was coming in, so I'm not totally shocked, but it's always good to see you show it off, especially in hand. It's always, it's kind of nerve-wracking for me, like, secondary nervousness, I guess, when someone else has these cards. It's like, yeah, they'll ship to me eventually, but this is the one that, for your sake, I was like, no, like, you need this card, like, in your collection, like, right now. So, it's great that it came in hand. I think this was, the turning point. As soon as you got this card, you're like, okay, yep, I want that one. So just ship the rest of it with it. So that's awesome. Very cool. I love those all-star shields. I love how you can, pinpoint, what, when it was used. It's just awesome. So yeah, great card. And especially those new school shields, they're all shiny and stuff. Loved them.
Yeah. So these being from the skill competition makes it very easy to pinpoint when they're from. And that's cool in its own right. But what's also cool is Slavin won the accuracy shooting competition.
He did.
So kind of like an added little bonus there. Unfortunately, I don't have anything wrong with Max Pacioretty. I like him as a player, always have. But it is a very random combination. A lot of the combinations make sense. And then you can clearly tell when they were just like, oh, we have this group of guys left over. We just throw 2 of them together. So that's definitely what this was. Now, it kind of worked out because Pacioretty became a Hurricane a couple years ago. So it kind of worked out in that regard. But it's still very much a random combination. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Plus, you get like a nice, Golden Knights memorabilia too, which is cool. So when they were kind of new, in 20 years, you're going to look back on that card and be like, this is when they were sort of new. So this is, a different type of memorabilia. It's back, when they were, the young guys in the league. So that's awesome. I like that card.
Yeah. So I think this would be 2020. So 1920 would have been their 3rd year in the league.
Yeah. So still pretty new. So it's something.
Yeah. So, but what's cool about this too, I mean, obviously it's a great card. And I have had one shield in my collection previously, but it was kind of just like a random Rob Blake Leaf superlative shield that I had picked up purely just to be like a nice trader, and ended up selling that card a few years ago. So I had only ever had one shield in my collection, and it wasn't really a PC card. So this is the first time having like a legit PC
it's nice.
Shield.
Isn't it nice? It's
card.
Nice.
It is.
It's cool. I mean, you can't beat a shield, it's iconic. I know, they've been done to death and everything like that, but to me, it's like, you can't beat a shield. It's really great.
They speak for themselves. They're very nice cards. And I know you're fortunate enough to have multiple Enroth shields, which is awesome. So
yeah, I mean, just by luck. So here's hoping, Slavin gets some. So, eventually, get some more there in your collection. So I think that'll be cool. But it's good that, you have that one there.
Yes, absolutely. So definitely right up there for one of the nicest Slavin cards I have. I wouldn't necessarily put it at number 1. I would probably put the Cup Black Rookie Auto 1 of 1 out of it. But after that, you could definitely make an argument that this could be number 2. Have some other really nice cards as well, but a shield 1 of 1, like we said, it speaks for itself. So,
exactly.
And having that, the context of it being my first ever PC shield card, and then also the backstory of 3 good hobby friends from over the years all coming together to help me acquire it. Again, it's not even just the fact it's a nice card, but you add in the backstory with the hobby connection,
the story and everything,
made it happen.
Yeah.
You can't ask for much more than that. So
And it's a huge shield too, which is great. It's not like a photo shoot rookie
yeah,
shield or something. So that to me, kicks it up a couple notches too, which is great. So that's awesome.
yep.
Nice.
So yeah, that is card number 84 of the package, and one that I had very much been looking forward to having. And as you alluded to, Aaron, there were multiple times from the Fall Expo until a month ago or whatever when you were like, dude, you got to get that package sent. You got
Yeah.
to get that package sent.
Yeah,
You
we
gotta get that
said we
package sent."
said it's going to be a full podcast episode. So it's like, you got to get that shipped, as soon as you can, because it's going to be, and I knew that card was in there. So I was like, you got to have the shield. And, as a bonus, it'll just make for an entire podcast episode. So that was a great run through. So, I wish I had something like that, but I know you have, and we spoke about it right before we went live, but hopefully I'm not spoiling anything, but I know you have an extra COM-C shipment that, again, you've been building for, I think, more
Years.
than 3 years. I think like
Yeah.
5 years or something. I could be wrong. Maybe it's
Yeah.
3, but I don't know.
No,
And
it's
it's
probably
like,
more like 5. Yeah.
yeah, and I think you have like, what is it now? Like over 200 cards.
hmm
So I think that'll be, I've said that before as well. Like that'll be, a whole podcast episode itself as well. So like
For
200
sure.
plus cards, amazing. So maybe we'll have that in time for a couple months or something. Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, it was kind of funny. I messaged Josh, whatever, like a month or so ago, a month and a half ago, and just said, hey, like I want the package, but Aaron really wants me to have the package.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and I think he said that at the expo too, just making sure that you got it. And I'm like, yep, no, he has it. So, I'm sure when he watches this, he'll be pleased to know that everything arrived safely, and I think you obviously appreciate it. So it's good.
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, Josh and I do this for each other. And I have quite a few very nice cards for Josh that are waiting. And I know that we'll be putting together a package pretty soon because arriving on Monday, I believe, I won't spoil it. I won't ruin it for, your Instagram post that will be coming, Josh. But you see this card, and the card that is arriving on Monday to me for Josh is better than this.
Okay. We'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll say that.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. I know the card he's talking about, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. So I know once that comes in, and then Josh is also having a COM-C order sent to me. So once that COM-C order comes in, then I'll accumulate all of his stuff and put together probably even a larger package than what I got from him. So
Crazy.
I know he's very much looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see him posting the various things from that when the time comes. But
definitely.
Yeah, so there is the 84 card package from Josh. Again, thanks Josh for doing that. Appreciate it. And as you guys saw, some really cool and special stuff with a few really good backstories behind some of them. So yeah, that is the show and tell portion of the episode. Like I said, usually this takes 5 minutes, not an hour and 20 minutes, but here we
That's
are.
all right.
Kind of a special case, but we try to have multiple topics in every episode. So even though the mail was obviously the main thing, we will kind of add in a little bit of a bonus here and do a little preview of 23-24 The Cup, because Upper Deck just released some of their solicitation, the design mock-ups for some of the cards. We haven't seen physical cards yet. That'll be coming in a couple weeks, but we can at least take a look at what some of the designs are going to look like and stuff like that. So I will throw up here. Let's see.
The preview images. Nice. I know we posted them on Instagram
here.
So very soon.
Let me get rid of the overlay so you guys can see better. So obviously that's just kind of the standard, that's probably what the boxes will look like. So nothing too crazy there. But then getting into some of the cards, we see here one of the new inserts called Baroque, which is kind of interesting, a very ornate design. And of course, what you guys have to keep in mind, of course, is
mock-ups.
That as is the case with any type of mock-up, you don't see the foil, and foil works wonders. So you guys might say, well, this Baroque card kind of looks a little boring. Well, you have to remember,
nice though.
All of this silver is going to be foil. So those are going to be really clean cards with that white background and then all of that foil stamping. those are going to be really nice looking cards for sure, especially, as they tout here, all-time greats of the game. That's going to be a really nice looking set for sure. Another one here, the Cup coronation cards, featuring the Stanley Cup and then an autograph on top of it. Can't go wrong with something like that for sure. I'm
Cup
sure
winners only, which is great.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Jalmerson will be in that. He should be, right?
I mean, you never know.
I'm not holding my breath, but maybe one day. And then, of course, there's some exquisite collection cards sprinkled into
Always
the Cup
nice to
every
see.
year. So nice looking card there, and I'm sure those gold edges will be gold foil as well. So probably gold rainbow foil actually. So pretty nice there. Some of the rookie content, of course, is what people are most excited about every year.
RPA.
We gotta draw some attention to the middle here.
I like it
with the Connor Bedard RPA. The design, is what it is.
I like it.
I think I'm reserving judgment for when I see them.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I'm not sold on kind of this like L design for the photo. I think it's okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. But what we have to point out is this right here.
Yep.
The Connor Bedard RPA has game-worn memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but Upper Deck is going as far as telling you it was worn on March 4th or March 5th, 2024 against the Coyotes. He had two assists in a 5-2 win while wearing that jersey.
They're naming it, which is great.
What more can you want? Like, people have said, we want game use stuff. We want to know when it's from. Of course, not every single rookie memorabilia card is going to be that way, but when they are specifically calling out, hey, the RPA, which is going to be his most important card of his rookie season, at least in terms of like non-1-of-1 stuff. Of course, his Cup shield is going to be the best card, but and the Ultimate Collection auto shield, stuff like that. But just for the quote unquote, not that this is a standard card by any means, but for the quote unquote standard stuff, the fact that it is game used and the fact that exactly when it was worn, that is a big deal. Like, for sure, because we don't, that's not common. Crosby, Ovechkin were game used. Oddly enough, Mikko Koivu also in 05-06 was game used, but that's it.
Yep.
As far as I know,
and naming it, I don't think's been done before.
Yeah.
Like naming when it's used, I don't think that's ever been done.
Yeah. So kudos to Upper Deck for doing that. This is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Again, it's not even just the fact it's game used. That's the most important thing, I would say, but that added level of this is when it was used. Kudos to you guys. That's exactly what collectors want to see being done, especially on cards like this. So it is wonderful to see that. And of course, these feather patches and stuff are going to be insane.
They're going to look really good.
In this mock-up, this is the jersey number 98 out of 99. Again, this is a mock-up. This is not a literal image of the card, but a card like that, whether it's, the jersey number copy or a really nice patch, that could be, approaching like a 6-figure type of card.
Yeah, it's crazy how much this thing's going to sell. And I was just looking at previous designs. It looks very similar to, just with the shape of the photo, 06, 07, and they did a very similar thing.
Yeah.
The design looks very different, obviously, but this one looks a lot more cleaner. But the layout, it's very similar, with the sort of L-shaped, window there, with the border there coming down, and then the patch and the autograph there at the bottom. So similar-ish. And I really like those. I like the layout there. So I know, not everybody will like it, but again, I really enjoy it. So, and then of course you have the shields there as well, which is great. Like all that stuff's going to look so good. So amazing job with the RPA designs. I mean, it's the one that's going to get a lot of attention, and rightfully so. So I mean, it looks fantastic.
Yep. And of course you got the Splendor cards included, which has been the case the last few years. Cool to see that product line carried on in some way. And those are really nice cards. You guys have probably, if you heard a few episodes ago when I picked up one of the Slavin patch autos from Splendor, really nice cards. I'm kind of intrigued by these logo mark cards. It looks like
There's like a logo in the background.
Yeah, you can see the Leafs logo a little
I
bit
was looking at
behind
that
him.
too, and then I noticed the logo. I was like, okay, so it's the logo marks, very good. I like how, similar to some of these cards, it's very clean, and then the logo is, it's centered. The player just pops. I don't know if this will be the case with everybody, but he's in his white jersey there, so just kind of blends in with the card. And then, of course, you have the logo there, front and center, signed in blue pen. So I think just, it's very, beneficial for the Leafs, there, but very cool. So yeah, I think
I
it's yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm intrigued to see what the actual like construction of these cards will
Yeah.
be. Like I'm thinking this would look awesome if the logo was done in like a foil, and then if this was like
Mm.
an acetate finish or
I was gonna
something.
say acetate. It probably would be an acetate, but again, we don't know yet. But I would assume, as soon as I saw the mock-up, I'm like, that seems like, an acetate type card, but you never know.
Yeah, we'll see. But depending on the how the cards are produced, that could be a really nice looking set.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, Cup Classics, of course, some of the most iconic inserts, of course. We'll start in the top left. We'll go with the signature renditions.
Always
This one in
nice.
particular is cool because you don't see Crosby dual autographs very often.
No.
So, them teasing a McDavid Crosby dual autograph card, that'll be a really big card.
Yep.
And for good reason. And the signature rendition cards are always really nicely done. But when you can get a combination like that, that's going to be one of those like, product level type of cards. So that's really cool. Again, they're bringing back the dual shields again this
Always
year, which is
nice.
great. I don't think anybody can complain about a nice dual shield card, as we mentioned earlier.
It's vertical as well, which is nice. So
Yep, just like
we'll talk
last.
about yep. We'll talk about that in a second. The verticalness, but yeah.
Yep, scripted sticks are back again. Always cool cards. Not much to say there, but looks like a pretty good design that will work nicely.
Looks nice.
This is one of the cards that has gotten people talking. Of course, everyone knows about limited logos. It's one of, if not the most popular insert set for the Cup every single year. And this year will be no different, I'm sure. But you guys might say, that doesn't really look like a limited logos. Why is that? Well, because since the inception of the Cup almost 20 years ago in 0506, there has only
Crazy.
been 1 year where the limited logos cards were vertical, and that was 0708. So it has been a very long time since we have
Yep.
seen a vertical orientation from limited logos. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's nice to change it up
Looks
and
great.
keep it fresh. And again,
Yep.
keep in mind that the Cup logo and this border around the patch, that's all going to be gold foil, of course. So the cards themselves will pop a lot better physically than this digital mock-up does it justice.
I think it'll look great. I love the gold.
So yeah, I think these are going to be really sharp looking cards. And again, maybe yes, people are used to the horizontal orientation, but I think it's nice to change things up every now and then. It still stays true to what limited logos are. You've got the hard signed autograph, you've got the big patch piece. It's still going to feel like a limited logos, but it's going to feel fresh, and I think that's a good thing. From time to time for things.
I like it.
So
Big
it'll be
fan.
interesting to see how those are received. But I think it's, like I said, it's good to change it up every now and then, especially when it appears as though it's going to be done as well as it looks like they will be. So there's that. Of course, the booklet cards people love. Of course, the monumental patch booklet autos. I mean, a jumbo patch
Gordie
auto
Howe
of
there
Gordie Howe
would be crazy.
of course, this is going to be a sticker autograph.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay.
It's all right for the Cup. It's all right for Gordie.
It's
Obviously,
not a big deal.
It's has to be that way. The patch part will be insane. That's the main part of the card anyway. Like that's what you're going to be paying for there. I mean, the fact that he's included in the monumental set is amazing.
Yep. So that'll very much be a product hit type of card for sure. And it's always fun seeing those cards, the cool patches that are included. Every card is so unique and interesting, especially for the veterans. The rookies being photo shoot patches aren't necessarily as interesting, but still beautiful, awesome cards nonetheless. But the veteran content and legend content is always spectacular for those. So that'll be no different this year. The ticket booklets are back, showcasing a Bedard NHL debut ticket here. Really, really cool. Not too much more to say about that, but those are always really cool to see, what tickets they're able to find. Especially when it is something super meaningful like a player's NHL debut game. That's really cool.
I like it. Of course, always have
the 9-way signature booklets. While the concept isn't necessarily anything like groundbreaking, still really nice cards, especially when you put together so many, greats of the game in this case with Gretzky, Yager, Messier, Howe, Francis, Dion, Yzerman, Messier, Sakic all on one card. Like, that's a pretty cool card, right? So there's that. And then the final teaser image, you've got the color-coded autograph cards making a comeback. I always really like those cards because they use an ink color that matches the team. So it's kind of hard to see in this image, but that Carlson mock-up signature is done in purple to match the jersey. So that's just kind of a cool touch with that set that's been done over the years. I know, like, you've seen McDavid done with orange ink and stuff like that. It's just it's a cool card. It's a little bit more unique than your standard blue ink autograph card. So, just kind of cool in that way. And everybody loves a good color match. And of course, honorary numbers are back, a staple of the cup from over the years. So looks like that'll be a pretty sharp looking design. Oh
yeah.
Heavy on the gold, but I think it looks.
I like the gold. I love the gold this year. It looks great.
And then one set that was new in 22-23 that is back in 23-24 that I know Billy was really excited about last year, and the cards were done really well last year, and it looks like they'll be fantastic again this year, is the Materialistics cards, taking some sort of memorabilia and then a big stick piece, and then a lot of them also featuring autographs as well. So
can't go wrong.
I know those cards were very well received last year, and this year I'm sure will be no different. That is a beautiful looking card. Again, keep in mind all of these borders are on the memorabilia, the cup logo, the Penguins logo, all that's going to be a gold foil. So it's just going to make for a very elegant looking card. And can't go wrong with big memorabilia pieces. And, I know last year Billy said this is a new thing, but this is going to be something that becomes one of those staple inserts in the cup. So, right on cue, it's back for this year, and it certainly looks really nice. So it'll be fun to see those cards. So, there's kind of a little bit of a preview of 23-24 to the cup. Obviously, once we get closer to release, the few days leading up, we'll start seeing some of those live preview images from the pack out.
Can't wait.
I know Billy gets to fly out to the North Carolina facility to hand pack the tins, Billy and a few others. So, it's always fun seeing those live preview images, especially of some of those big cards. I'm sure we'll be seeing pictures of the Bedard RPAs and some dual shields and limited logos, and we'll probably see a picture of that Gordie Howe.
I was just going to say, we're probably going to see that Howe.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see stuff like that. So that's always a fun couple of days, before release to see what cards they show off. I believe release is scheduled for June 4th right now. Hopefully it stays at that. You never know. It might move around by a week or something, but I think that's what the target date is right now. With that, whether it is our next episode 114, or maybe we squeeze one in beforehand and it becomes 115, but the plan is to have Billy on to do a review of the product and go through, all of the insert designs and stuff like that. And, we've done this every year with Billy, and, assuming that this year
well received.
Assuming this year will be no different, being able to get his insight on, how stuff looks and why stuff is the way it is and all that. So there's a chance that one might not be live. We might pre-record it so that it's ready to go early in the day on release day. But regardless, you guys can probably expect that episode will be coming in the near future for sure. So I know I always love hearing Billy's insight on the cup every year, and I'm sure this year will be no different. This is a big year for the product. Probably right up there with 0506 and 1516. Not as big as 0506, but it's definitely, bigger than a quote unquote random year, like 10-11, or, so it's a big one. And hearing his thoughts and insight on the product is going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, whether that's the next episode or the episode after that, we'll see. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. But I think that'll pretty much wrap it up for the episode. Just 2 topics, tons of cards shown off, and then featuring the cup. Fun little episode for sure. I don't have anything else to add on my end.
I'm good. No, I'm good for me. It was a lot of fun, seeing all your new cards there, and I can't wait for that cup review. It'll be amazing. I just shared some of those photos to our Facebook page now, so if anyone wants to check those out in more detail, feel free. So yeah, another good episode, and we might have something in between, but either way, the cup episode's coming soon, so that'll be fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're, what are we, 2.5 weeks away from June 4th? Is that right? Yeah. June 4th is the first Wednesday of June. So yeah, 2.5 weeks away. So we'll see, whether it's the next episode or not. Yeah, like I said, it'll be coming, one of these next episodes for sure. So stay tuned for that. I know that's an episode people really enjoy every year, and same for us. It's a fun topic to talk about, especially with the man that knows the product better than anybody. So stay tuned for that. That'll be fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know I did. Hopefully Aaron did too, and hopefully you guys did as well. So we'll leave it at that. A little bit longer than normal, but when you're showing off 84 cards, it kind of happens. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A little bit of a different episode, but fun to show off and just see a bunch of cool cards. So as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Center Ice Cardcast, and on Twitter at Center Ice CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice, which I will say we've been having an issue with our RSS feed. So if you guys do listen on podcast platforms, we apologize, because the last 4 or 5 episodes,
it's not there,
shown up. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. We have not had any luck yet, but so just a little side note there in the middle of our outro, but we're aware of that problem. We're trying to fix it, but
check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, we've been trying
in the
to
meantime,
get you guys to the YouTube and Facebook version anyway, since it has the video component as well. So but yeah, in case you guys are watching, listening on YouTube or Facebook and you don't normally, that's why, and that's what's going on. So hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that soon, but just to throw that out there. So anyway, please be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast platform of choice, even though the episodes aren't there, to make sure you never miss a future episode, even though they're not there. Until next time on Center Ice Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.